Hey there viewers, thank you for tuning into Supermariodiagnostics once again. Today we have a 2014 Hyundai Veloster with a 1.6 liter turbo GDI engine, and customer's concern was that the check engine light was on, but when I got it, it was off. And also what he believed was an exhaust noise. So went under the hood, did not find any exhaust noise. Over 2,000 RPMs, it did sound like a knock. So I wanted to check the codes as well, and I got a P0014 camshaft over advanced or performance, and did some research. And oh, by the way, it was a history code, it wasn't a current code, and it was running fine, so that's another thing. I did some research and I found a TSB on the engine knocking noise, and that TSB basically says that use of an aftermarket engine oil filter causes an engine knocking noise. So you know what, I went with it. I said, let's follow the TSB, let's do the oil change, let's put an OEM oil filter in there and see what happens. It may or may not fix the vehicle. So I went ahead and did just that, and customer was not lucky. The noise persists, and we went with our findings up to the customer and told them we can take a look into the upper end. I feel like it's in the upper end. I put a stethoscope, I hear it in the upper end only after 2,000 RPMs, but I feel no misfire, I feel nothing else. So I told them we can pop open that valve cover and check it out, and also we can put a pulse sensor on the crank on the oil dipstick tube in order to rule out a bottom end issue like piston rings or something like that. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and take a look under the valve cover and see what we find. And also we are going to do a pulse. I might do an actual PSI waveform, a vacuum waveform on the dipstick to see if there's something going on in that bottom end. At least if everything looks nice and even, I am not going to suspect any issues with the bottom end. If we do see some kind of irregularity, abnormality, we're going to stop right there and consider our options. But for now, let's go ahead and do that waveform. Now real quick, I am under the hood. I'm leaving the camera up at the dashboard so you guys can see how many revolutions it takes for it to start making that noise. I'm going to leave the microphone up here so that you guys can hear the noise, and hopefully it all comes out all right. So now that you've heard the noise, let's go ahead and continue on our way. Alright, real quick, just to show you exactly what I'm doing. I am here with my transducer on range number 2, 10 psi over and under atmospheric, and we are in our dipstick. The idea is to check crankcase pressures, just basically just to rule out any kind of piston ring issue. It's not really, you know, all-inclusive bottom end confirmation, but it does give me some kind of peace of mind, so I'm not too worried about that. Just to show you guys my setup, WPS 500 range 2, that is plus and minus 10 psi. I'm at 10 million samples per page, and let's go ahead and start our capture. I'm going ahead and get in the car, let it idle, and also rev it up to where it does make the noise. It's really just to make sure the basics are covered, nothing crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and rev it up now. I'm going to hold it up now. And that is it. We could just take a quick look at the waveform and see what we find. I really don't see anything to worry about. Revving it up, gave me what, an amplitude of 1 psi. Let me just do my due diligence. Any of you advanced picoscope users, can you tell me what's going on with this formula here? Can it just be a simple psi measurement? So I have an amplitude of about 1.2 psi, and I'm not really worried about piston rings at this moment, and that is it. So let's get on with any further direction we could go with to find this noise. So far I've tried disconnecting each coil to see if the noise would go away, and it does not. But I could hear it right now. I could hear like this half speed kind of like slap going on. Almost feels like the cam is slapping against the lifter. I would hate to take this apart without finding anything, so at least anything obvious. I've removed the oil cap as well, just to take a look in there, see if I could find anything, maybe like a chain slap, but I don't see a chain slap either. It sounds very pronounced around this area here. I've also looked at the fuel pump with a stethoscope, and I've got nothing there. So very peculiar. I'm wondering if I should go in with a bore scope through the cylinders. If the valves were colliding with something, it wouldn't go away. From what I know, it wouldn't go away with at idle. I don't see another way. Alright fellas, so that valve cover is off, and good news is, found out what it is. Bad news, I should have done something before taking off that valve cover. There was always this thing in the back of my mind, especially after seeing this video by Dave DeCourcy, the late Dave DeCourcy. Amazing individual. I have never met him, but man, I love the way he explains things. But in one of his case studies, he had an issue with a car with uneven piston depth, or piston height, so to speak, at top dead centers. And he had a special tool, this DTC indicator, spring loaded. It pushes down on the piston, and when it would rise to top dead center, he would make his measurements, write it all down, and compared all the measurements. He said he had a hard time finding that one, but I've always had that in the back of my mind. I did have another car here that came in with that issue, and I was able to find it, but I'm not going to take the credit for it. This is something that my co-worker taught me. He's an old school tech, but he's pretty good at what he does. And I'm just going to show you exactly what he showed me, and it ended up being the case for this particular engine, this particular situation. So mind you, I recognize I should have done this first, but on with it. So what we're doing is basically rotating that crank, rotating the crank. All my spark plugs are out. Mind you, I went through this whole thing. I took I disconnected the VVT while it was running, didn't see no change. I checked all the cam lobes, all that good stuff, and finally I did this last. So if you guys ever come across something a little weird, do this first before you take apart everything. Anyway, basically what I'm doing is rotating. I don't have that special tool. I should have a top dead center indicator spring loaded, but I don't. So instead, what my coworker showed me that was basically, before I show you, I'm going to just explain it real quick. As the piston is descending, the idea is that the drag from the piston walls, the cylinder walls, will that friction against the rings will cause the piston to stay up, to hang up a little bit, and then we could push down and confirm play, and confirm crankshaft bearing play. So con rod bearing play, basically. So right here we're going descending, right? The idea is that the piston is being hung up, so I'm going to push down on it hard, And you heard that? I'm not sure if you heard that, but try it again. You could hear that right there. Now I'm gonna go to one that I tested and it came out good. I know you guys, some of you guys are gonna go crazy by watching me do this, but whatever, it works. 0 play. Let's go to this one. I heard something there. It's got play. Let's go to this one. Let's go up to top the center and back descending. Heard that? I know you heard that. If you didn't hear that, well, I'm sorry. Hear that? Let's try it again on our known good. If that wasn't enough proof for you. Zero play, zero noise. So that ends that. Bottom end is no good. I tried to get away with the pulse, the transducer on the dipstick, but that only confirms piston rings. Doesn't confirm crankshaft play. Now that did not sound like your typical crankshaft bearing issue. So one thing to keep in mind is that engine sounds don't sound the same necessarily as they used to, at least. We're gonna call it engine. Alright, so I'm gonna upload this video as is. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like. I know some of you guys are gonna scream at your screen when you see that extension in the through the spark plug hole, but you know what, if you're careful, shouldn't be an issue. And what more damage can I possibly do? But anyway, let me know what you liked in the comment section, what you didn't like, and don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, share your thoughts, share your knowledge. I'm pretty sure we can all learn from this one. I am grateful to work with a coworker that is another diagnostic tech that is more than willing to help out and pitch in, and we look out for each other here. You know, I come in with the scope, but he comes in with these neat little tricks that aid in our diagnosis, and I hope you all can benefit from this one. I know I sure did, and I appreciate you watching, taking the time to comment, and your subscriptions. I really do appreciate your subscriptions. Hope you like the new setup, the new format, the way it looks. It's a work in progress. This is going to be a 1080p. Hopefully you guys don't notice too much of a difference, but let's see how it goes. Thanks again, and until next time. Unfortunately, the customer has declined to go any further with it. There will be no update, and on to the next one. Can't get caught up in the declines, you know. So with that, sorry fellas, until next time.